So the video I had planned today wasn't the original planned video. I originally had planned to show off my Gauge 1 Thomas and make a full video on that. Unfortunately, that video is still in the works. I'm working on editing. I'm about halfway through. It'll still take a little bit more time, and I have a train show next week, so I don't exactly have the most amount of time to work on that video. It's probably gonna be delayed for another 2 weeks or so. But today I wanted to talk about how to make these. This is a 3D scan by Covey of the Fat Controller props, and I've shrunk these down. And as you saw in one of my other videos, I actually gave one of these away for I think it was my 7,000 subscriber special. So that was like the giveaway. So this is how it starts out. Now, obviously you have to print it out and such. And I would show all that, but it's kind of boring. So I'm not going to. So we already have the physical model here. I'm just gonna kind of show you how to get this to look like how it does here. Let's get into it. So let's start out with what we have. We have a raw print of Fat Controller. This one, I will not be showing me doing all the filling and stuff because this one does need a bunch of filling and just a bunch of stuff on it. And you can see there's some pretty bad print lines. So we're not actually gonna be using this one today. We will be using this one right here. This is a torso I already finished. Now I have the head over here that I've started on. But this one I've already puttied and it's gotten all hard and stuff, so we can actually go in and sand this. I'm not gonna show all the sanding. I'll probably go into painting. Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand this and then we're gonna prime it and paint it. So let's go ahead and get into that there. So to sand this, we're just gonna be using some 220 grit sandpaper and then finish it off at the end, some 400 grit. I'm not gonna show the full process of me doing this, but I'll show what it looks like more at the end. You just wanna do enough of it to remove all those print lines. One thing you want to be careful with, I don't know if you can see in here. Okay, so on the scans, there are still the paint lines from where they had actually went in and painted this. So one of the things I like to do, you can see all these little lines from where the lapel, and I think you can even see part of the tie. Actually, no, you can see part of the crease for the middle of the blazer right here. Oh yeah, you can see the tie right there. So you can see all those lines in there. And what I like to do is I like to take an X-Acto blade, kind of make it a little bit more pronounced. Makes it a little bit easier for painting, especially if I'm gonna be sanding up in these areas. I don't want to sand those lines off because it's a lot harder to paint that area than it is to just mask around it once you put the black on. You don't want to be too rough whenever you're doing these lines. You just kind of want to just follow let the blade guide you. Just be careful because you could cut yourself here. And all we're doing is just adding a little bit deeper of a line there for painting. And you can sand this off or whatever you want, but I don't. I just use it as a guideline. And you can see we're getting more pronounced lines right there that we can see, and those will actually show up once we paint it. The way I did it the first time is I freehanded it, but then I tried this method and it worked out pretty good. Okay, so we got our cutouts for the lapel, but we'll get this sanded and then we'll prime it.
Many hours later.
Okay, so I'm just kind of an idiot, and I got to sanding, and then I got carried away with painting, and this is what the jump is. So I'll put pictures of previous Fat Controllers I've done for people up, but this is a lot further than what I wanted to get, or like I wanted to get just a little bit done, but I got too much done. Let me just describe what I did here. So as you can see, there is our prominent lapel and like scrapes and stuff. There's the pocket. You can see there's these little pockets on the side here that I had went in and actually scored up there so that you could actually get an easy line to paint. Like I said, you don't really have to worry about this area right here. So where do we go now? What I did, I sprayed it black first. I sprayed everything black first, then I mask off the black because it's just a lot easier to mask around. I mask off the black, I mask off the vest, and then I spray everything gray, prime it gray, because I found the gray that I use is a very nice light gray color, and that's kind of close to what the Fat Controller's legs look like. But then after that, I go in and I mask off all this so I can paint the actual purple or the yellow. For the yellow lapel, I painted this white first, just so the paint would pop a little bit more. And then I go in and paint the little shirt underneath the lapel, and I paint that white. You can see we do have to go in and paint all this black. That's just from the masking and stuff. So we have to paint a black line around that. So I'm actually gonna show you how to do that here, and we gotta paint the shoes too. Now for the head, I did sand the head We might have to do a little bit more sanding right there. It's not too bad. One thing I will have to do, sand off the mouth, because I guess whenever Kobe scanned this, he scanned it whenever it had a sort of angry mouth. So we will have to change that, and I have to sand a little bit more underneath here now that I'm looking at it. So we will do that, get that fully sanded, and then we will come back to it. One of the things I want to show here, we'll touch up the top of this lapel area, just because that kind of helps me get a better idea of how this is going to look. This apple barrel paint, I don't know what I did to it. I think I might have watered it down, but I'm not sure. But it is super liquidy, and I can apply it to stuff and it just looks like it's spray paint. So we're gonna go in and just go with this real small paintbrush, tidy this up, make it a little bit more round. There we go, all tidied up there. So you can see it's a lot more round now. Okay, so now what we're gonna move on to, painting the tie and painting the strip down the torso here. So let's do that. So the masking tape I'm gonna use is this Tamiya masking tape. Super small, I don't remember the exact size. I wanna say like a, I don't know, like a quarter inch. And I'm kind of looking at this. I'm gonna probably do a little bit of it off camera here because I don't want to mess this person's model up here. Go. We're gonna thin this line up over here because I don't like how thick that will look. There we go. Nice thin line that runs down the center. We shouldn't have to worry about that. Hopefully it'll turn out like this one right here. Nice straight line. So we'll do that. And we'll make sure that tape is really pressed down too, but we'll see. And like I said, it's okay if we have to do touch-ups on it. It's fine, it's not that big of a deal. One thing I am worried about with this paint is that it is super thin, so kind of concerned that it's gonna run into it anyway. So do one more little coat there. All right, ready? Yeah, see, look, just like I said, I knew it was probably gonna run into it because I did push that down pretty good, but apparently not. Yeah, but that other side didn't turn out the worst. But like I said, we have the exact paint color. And it's a good time for me to show y'all the two yellows I use. Or the two colors I use. This is a good time for me to show you the two colors I use. So the two colors I use for the bottom shirt is pale daffodil and princess purple. I just find it's a really good color combo for these two. So let's take some of our purple here, shake it up. Okay, so I'm gonna give you all a little voiceover to this. I was working on this project and I had a video playing in the background while I was talking and it was just really distracting. And again, I just got a little bit ahead of myself, so just enjoy the little time lapse here of me working on the model, so. Okay. So as per usual with this whole project, I have gotten ahead of myself every single time. So I went ahead and just fully did all this. I wasn't happy with how this looked on the actual model. So the like little undershirt, so I widened it a bit, made it look a little bit more like it pokes out. So we have that. And I kind of gave him more of a broad band around there. So this is how this is going. I also did go in and do all the touch-ups and stuff on his actual suit. So he was areas that were still gray and stuff, touched everything up. I actually even went in and fully finished this. I added the flower, I added the handkerchief and the little pockets and stuff. I also went in on the buttons and gave him a little white highlight because that's how it is on the actual prop there. And yeah, so I've gotten this going. Now we need to paint his shoes and maybe touch up some of this gray a little bit more. And then we also have to go in and paint his hands, which will be pretty easy from what I remember with this. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, another thing I've been working on, I finally got the shoes done. Actually, no, I need to do the buttons on this side. But I've been tidying up the gray. You can see there's a couple of areas where the gray is just not in the best shape. There's some overspray of black and stuff in some areas that I'm trying to fix. So we're just tidying up this real quick right here. I'm gonna leave this a little bit weathered like this because I like it's a little bit darker right there in the seam there. And his legs, I think that just looks a little bit better. Okay, so I did lose one thing. I lost the original paint that I used, so we're gonna have to mix up a new mix of the tan. I couldn't ever find like an actual good tan that they use, or like something close. I couldn't find anything in the store, so I didn't mix my own. So we're gonna just do that right now because I don't have any other options. I don't know where that paint went. Probably did way too much brown though. Okay, so I don't know why on camera it looks very yellow. It is not yellow at all in person. It's like more of a brown color, so I don't know, it looks weird. Alright, so we're just gonna hand paint a lot of the flesh tone on here. Probably take a few coats, so we'll be here for a bit. Alright, so I've done a lot of work off camera, and this is part of the problem with me doing custom videos on the spot. I just get too focused. But so currently we're working on painting his eyes and all that. I might redo a little bit of this eye, I'm not sure. We did a little bit of the blush here. It's just blending paint and stuff, so that's fine. I gotta make the eyebrows, the mouth. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Then we have to make the ears, and then obviously we have to paint the top of his hat black. Yeah, this is how the head's coming out so far. I did also finish the arms for the most part. Right. I did also finish the arms for the most part. I do have to add a black dot in there, and I have to add the fingers, but for the most part that's done. But yeah, I'll tune back in here in just a second to show you how this looks. All right, I've got him done here. Let's see. This is how he turned out. Almost like how my original one was that I gave away. The only difference is his lapel is a little different in some areas, and he's just a little bit more redefined in some areas. Took a lot more care for this one instead of that one. But yeah, I'm very happy with how he turned out. The only thing left to do is satin coat him, but I'm not going to show that because I would have to wait for it to dry and stuff. Yeah, he's done. You can see, usually I'm going to sticky tack these arms, like black tack them. So yeah, I'm very happy with how this one turned out. Like I'm actually really jealous. I told the person who this is going to, I was like, I'm actually really jealous of this one. So I have like 5 more that I'm almost done with, and this guy is I think the second or third one I've finished. Yeah, I've got a couple more to do. Some of the yellow, I gotta get those finished. I'm very happy with this guy. Yeah, so I'm gonna end the video here. I'm sorry this was like a lot of me just finishing the model and not actually showing all the process, but I kind of just get too carried away with painting and stuff. So yeah, anyway, yeah, so that's the end of this video. Hopefully I'll have the Thomas video out for y'all, hopefully within the next week or so. I am going to the train show in Conway, Arkansas. If anyone is interested, I will be there. I will have Gauge 1 Thomas displayed. I'll be displaying a bunch of the Z scale, the Gauge 1 stuff, the 009 layout, all that. So I'll be there. If you're interested, stop by if you're in the area. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's day. Thank y'all so much. Hamburger.